All right, so the first part of the project for 2-1 is going to ask you to respond to the do now in this form. Keep in mind that the do now is worth 20% of your grade. You can you can full screen this if you want to. What it says to do is to start at 1 minute and 30 seconds. So you'll go to 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then you'll watch through the video. You're then going to respond to these questions. So your name, the layer that's on top on the layer panel is, or dot, dot, dot. And that is, you're going to just check the correct one. What does clicking on the eye shape next to a layer do to the layer? And how can you undo the last 5 steps that you did in Photopea? So those are just your 3 do now questions based on the steps from that video. This is the review of the expectations. And for your connection, I want you to think about these 2 questions. So what toppings do you like on your pizzas? And what order do you put your toppings on? What is on the bottom, what goes on top, and what goes on top of that? If you're watching this during class, make sure that you responded to that connection question. If you are watching this after class, make sure to comment with your response to that in the assignment comment section on Google Classroom. So the steps for today are to open a plate from the Google Classroom resource folder in Photopea, open in place to insert the crust, sauce, and cheese. If you accidentally put a layer in the wrong spot, you'll use the drag and drop method to rearrange your layers. You'll save it as a PSD and you'll export and upload to Google Classroom by 6 today. Tomorrow, we'll insert 2 more toppings with the optional step to insert another topping or utensil of your choice. You'll sign your name and you'll put on Google Classroom. So, what are layers? As a refresher, layers in photo editing are like layers of a cake or a sandwich, or in today's case, a pizza. Each layer can have something unique in it. The layer order will also be the main takeaway from today's project. So, the layer on top is the one that's in front of your picture. The one that is in the bottom of the stack that you'll see over here where it says background, that's actually all the way in the back. So why pizza? We're going to use the layer tools to arrange the layers of pizza since it makes a lot of sense in terms of like the order of it. Seeing the different layers and their order will hopefully mean it makes more sense when you're applying it. So what's the first thing that you need on the bottom of your pizza? Think about that for a second. Yep, so we're going to start by putting our plate, because if you just have the crust on your table, it's kind of awkward. So this is where you're going to be getting your resources. This is just to make life easier for you. I have this entire folder here. Let me know if you're not able to view it, but you should have viewing and accessing capabilities. You can let me know if that is not the case. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to download the plate that the pizza is going to go on. So in this tab, I'm going to find the plate, the one that says plate. I'm going to click on that twice. That's what it means when I say double click. That means click on it twice. And I'm going to click on this button all the way in the top right corner that says download. You'll notice now it gives me the option to download it to my computer, and it's in my downloads bar. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to photopea.com. And you should actually be doing these steps along with this. So you should have this open in one tab, or you could be watching the video on your phone and you should be doing the steps along with it. You can do the steps on either computer, a tablet, a Chromebook, a phone, whatever you have on hand. I find it's easier to use this on a computer, but if you don't have that available, you can do it on your phone. So I'm going to click File in the top left corner. I'm going to click Open, and I'm going to click on my recents and click where it says plate. For most computers, especially Chromebooks, it'll automatically go to your recents first, so it makes it a little bit easier. So as you can see, now you have your plate open in Photopea. The next step is going to be what we want to put in next. So I'm going to go get the picture of the crust to download. I'm going back to that pizza folder, and as you can see, I'm keeping all of these tabs open, not closing any of them. I'm going to click on the one that says pizza crust. Same thing, top right corner, I'm going to click where it says download. Going to go back to my Photopea tab, File, Open in Place. I can click on the one that says pizza crust. I can make it a little bit bigger if I want by moving it around, clicking on one of those squares in the corners. Keep in mind, if you want to keep the proportions the same, you can hold down the key that says Shift on your keyboard so that way it locks it. I'm going to just make it a little bit bigger and stick it in the middle. Oop, wrong one. So what you're going to do at this point is you are now going to put in your sauce and your cheese. So I'm going to go back to the Pizza Access folder. I'm going to click on where it says pizza sauce, and I'm going to download it. I'm going to click where it says cheese. I'm going to download it. For the sake of speeding it up, what I can actually do is File, Open in Place, and then I can actually click on both at the same time. So I can actually highlight both at the same time, or I can hold down Shift and click both. So that way it inserts, or I guess imports at the same time. So what I can do now, just like before, I can move them around. I can change this around. But right now, I have my sauce underneath my cheese, which just like does not do that for me. So what I want to do is I want to actually move my cheese to be on top. So I see on my right-hand side, I have my layer panels. I have the one that says background, pizza crust, cheese, and sauce. Remember, the one that is on top of this layer panel is the one that's in front. So I'm going to click this with my mouse, and I'm just going to drag it to be above the other one. Again, it's called drag and drop because I'm going to click this with my mouse, and I'm going to drag it to be on top of the other layers. If that isn't working, or if you're noticing that it's locking it, or if it's just glitching, you can go around that by clicking Layer at the top of your screen. Click Arrange. Make sure that you're on the layer that you want. I have the one that says cheese selected. So I'm going to click Arrange, and I'm going to click Bring to Front. And that just kind of goes around it. I could do the same thing in the other order. So let's say I have my background in front and it's just like not correct. I could click Layer. I could click on, where'd it go? Arrange, Send Backwards, puts it backwards one layer, and then I could click Send Backwards again. That's just another way to do it. I'm going to go back to my layer that has the cheese on it. I'm going to stretch that because right now it is not occupying the whole space, and that's kind of irking me. All right. So what we're going to do next, we have this inserted. It's the same thing that we did. We're going to save it, and we're going to export it. This is really, really important because we're going to be adding other toppings tomorrow. File, Save as PSD, that saves it as a Photoshop file straight to your computer. File, Export as PNG, and then hit Save. You need to do this two-step save because if you do not have the Photoshop file tomorrow, you're going to be in trouble because you're going to have to still edit the layer order. Remember, if you don't have your layer order locked, like if you lose that, you're going to have to redo it, and that would kind of be a bummer. So make sure that you're doing this two-step save so you have the Photoshop version and the PNG version. So now you can go onto Google Classroom for 2.1 and click Attach or Create, click File, and click on the file that you just uploaded. Finally, the exit ticket you are going to either send me in the chat on Zoom if you're doing this during class. If you are doing this in a time that it is not in session, you're going to comment with your exit ticket on your Google Classroom assignment.